within 2 months, I made back my course investment. I got 3 clients and made back my investment into the, 6 figures now. And I don't even blink at that. I am booked out now. I'm booked out for months, but I'm looking to hire a team now to really be able to help more people.
That's like a dream that so many web designers want to achieve. Okay, Alex, welcome. I cannot wait for you to tell the people your story. I think it's incredible. Can you start me off with talk to me about like pre-web designer life? What was happening in Alex's life and how did we get here?
Okay, so first off, I just have to thank you, Paige, because my life is so fulfilled and I am so grateful to you for that because you have created these incredible courses, which I took, and we'll get into all of that, but I just want to thank you because of you, I have this beautiful, incredible life now. So thank you
Alex,
so much for that.
That is too kind. You did this yourself, but thank you.
But really because of you. So I will say that I was always interested in journalism and storytelling, and I went to school for journalism. And I then, worked at news organizations and was like, this is like, these people are crazy. This is so intense. This is like so too type A for me. And I then was like, okay, what's like a little bit less type A and less like crazy, but also kind of fun. Like I always loved production and live events. So I ended up working for Oprah for the Nate Berkus show, which Nate Berkus is an amazing interior designer. And I adored working for Oprah shows and that, but this show got canceled. And then the executive producer was like, Al, come with me to LA. And I was working on the show at that time. It was a Queen Latifah show. And I'm like, I don't know that this is going to last. I'm going to come back from LA. But what will last is working at Madison Square Garden because shows don't get canceled. Concerts are always around, right? The Rangers games, Knicks games. So I was a producer for many years at Madison Square Garden until COVID.
Yeah.
They do get canceled, apparently. And there were no concerts, no Rangers games, no Knicks games. So I thankfully, on the side for many years while I was at Madison Square Garden, was taking coding classes and digital marketing classes because my family and friends always wanted websites. And I love being creative. And was creative at Madison Square Garden, but not in the way of like graphics and like branding and strategy. And so I did all of that. And then COVID happened. And my husband was like, Alex, you got to do this full time. What are you doing working in Madison Square Garden until 1:30 in the morning, right? Because these concerts would go to 1:30, 2 o'clock, and it's not sustainable if we want to have a family. Like, you're right. Like, I got to do this full time. So for many years, I've watched your YouTube videos, and I was just like enamored by you because you were saying what I was thinking. Like, I'm like, oh, how do I do this? And immediately out of your mouth, how do I do this? Like, you are so good at explaining things and simplifying things that are complicated and just you would get to the answer immediately. Instead of like watching this crazy YouTuber, it would just take hours to get to the answer. No, you would get to the answer and I'm like, this girl's on it. I love her. So I looked at your courses. I'm like, these are expensive. Could it possibly be worth it? I don't know. And you know what? It took me a little bit of time, like to spend the money on the courses. And I'm so happy I did. I bought your Squarespace Secrets course and your business bundle. And I remember where I was. I was at my dad's house in Palm Beach during COVID. And I'm like, just went through the entire course. I sat there focused. At that point, I didn't have a baby. And every course that, the courses, what are the chapters within the courses?
Modules.
You had interviews with guest experts. You were touching on every little thing that you could possibly ever want to know to be a web designer. And it was truly the catalyst for me to be like, this is absolutely what I need to be doing. I have the entire toolkit now, and I can make it my own. And that's what I did.
I love that. I love that. Okay. Talk to me about okay, so you had mentioned like your friends and family always needed websites, which I think speaks to the thing, which people are always wondering, like, oh, is it too oversaturated? It's like you and every other person are constantly like, oh, well, all my friends and family said I needed a website. And it's like, yeah. Anyways, that's besides the point. The thing I want to say is, had you ever done a like paid project before? Or like, was it after you took the course that you did a paid project or?
It was after the course that I did a paid project because then I felt like I really got this.
You know what you're doing. That
I
makes
know
sense.
what I'm doing. I had done websites before, but not paid, and given, I wanted to make sure I was buttoned up in terms of having like my legal, my invoices, everything I knew. I'm like you, like I wanted to make sure that I had a really like established presence. I wanted to make sure that I had not established presence. Like I wanted to be crystal clear with my clients, like how onboarding and all of these things. And that's so taking your course really set me up for success in that way, that I didn't have any imposter syndrome once I started.
Oh, that's so good. I love that. Okay. And then talk to me about those early days and like those first initial clients. People are always wondering, like, where do I get like first clients from? What happened for you? It's different for every person, but like where did your first like 1, 2, 3 clients come from, let's say?
Okay, so I think of being a web designer and finding clients similar to like dating. Like how many new people are you meeting a week?
Oh, yep.
Right? So if you're in your house all day or in your office not talking to anyone, or if you're working and you want to do this as a side hustle, then like you're not going to you're not going to meet people who need websites.
Yep.
So how I got my first couple clients is literally like I remember being getting a massage and the person who was giving me a massage was like, I really need a website. What do you do? I was like, well, I'm a website designer. Like I'm happy to make you a website. And it just would start from there. And people are always asking, what do you do? What do you do?
Yep.
And I say, I'm a website designer and my niche is working with women in health and wellness. My friend, my this, my that, And oftentimes also as a web designer, I'm seeing other people's websites and I'm saying, they could really use an upgrade. And I'll message them. Hey,
Good.
this is, I think I could really help you.
Yep. I love that. Tell me about what you say in that message. Cause I think some people, they absolutely have that exact same situation. They're like, okay, this website of like, they go to their local yoga studio or chiropractor or whatever it is. And they're like, they really need a new website. But then they're like, I don't know how to approach them without being rude and with them actually wanting to work with me at the end of it. So talk to me about like, what do you put into a message like that?
So typically I love to be in person with people. So I love to just start becoming friends with the people. Start becoming friendly. Don't immediately go into the pizza shop that you think needs an upgrade and say, I want to do your website. No, start becoming friends with the owner. Let them trust you. Because really hiring someone to build your website, they need to trust you. And if you start by just becoming friends and becoming, then they will, I trust this person. I like this person. Right? The way you hire a therapist, you hire anything, you want to like them. And by the way, we're therapists.
Yep.
Like website designers, like I am a life coach.
Yep.
I am a therapist, like first. First. Because when I meet someone, I ask them, what are your goals? I'm not asking them to design their website. I'm saying to them, what are your goals? What do you want to do in 1 year? Like I say to you too, anyone I meet, what do you want to do in 5 years? Meet and can you even think what do you want to be doing in 10 years?
Yep.
And let me help you build a website to get there.
I love that.
People don't really think like that. They're like, let me build for now. I'm like, no, we're building for where you want to be in 1 year and 5 years.
Yep. I love that. And I absolutely, again, like every time I talk to a student, I'm like, yeah, Alex fits perfectly to just like making friends in person. And then, we've met in person and just like lights up a room when you walk into one. So that does not surprise me.
I feel the same thing about you. And that is really the truth. It's not sending a cold, you could send a cold email, but it really is find your community and meet these people in person and take them out to coffee and just give them some advice.
Yep. And then they realize how much you know. And then they're like, oh, I need her.
Yeah. Then I want to hire you. Right. And one of the reasons why I chose Squarespace is because what I love so much about Squarespace is I teach my clients how to update the website on their own. And so that's what I share with people. For example, if I'm not going to Pizza Shop, but if I was, I'd say, hey, and I can teach you how to update it on your own. And
Yep.
it's like music to their ears.
I hear you. That's amazing. Okay, and then tell me about like, so you mentioned you kind of niched into female-owned businesses in the health and wellness space. Did you pick that from the beginning? Did that kind of develop over time as you just noticed you kept getting clients in that area? How did that work?
It's in my interest. So when I was 29, and I think we spoke about this, when I was 29, I had an OB who I broken up with my boyfriend. My OB said, Al, you really should freeze your eggs. And so I went into this whole journey of health and wellness. Well, if I'm going to freeze my eggs, which I ended up not, and not needing to, thank nothing would, but I was like, I want to have at least the healthiest body possible, at healthiest egg quality and all of this thing. So I really went into this journey of health and wellness where I studied so much about women's bodies, health and all of that. And so I'm like, you know what? I can really speak to and help. I know the material. I know who the target audience of my clients. And so I can really help them the most. But it's not to say like I was just a man who's an interior designer. Saw an interior design website I designed and reached out to me and said, I've seen so many websites. I don't like them. I like the website you did. I know that you mostly work with women in health and wellness, but will you help me?
Yeah. And
I loved his personality. I loved him. And I said, absolutely.
I love that.
So you niche because it's easier, because the more acupuncturist websites I do and the more psychologist websites I do and the more dermatologist websites I do, the easier it is to replicate. Like it's just easier. Like I know exactly what the psychologist needs on their website.
Yes.
Right. Same. And so that's when you say niche, like it just makes it so much easier.
I agree. I totally agree. It's so much more like efficient when you're building websites. I remember the first time I did a yoga studio website and they were like, oh, okay, well, we need some sort of booking system. So I had to go like research and figure out which booking system made the most sense. And it's like, once you do it the second time, the third time, the fifth time, it's like, you already have the answer. So
exactly. Absolutely. And so when you say niche, there is real reason why. But then it doesn't mean you can't take the interior designer website or, you can do whatever projects you want.
Yep. Totally.
You're your own boss.
Okay, so I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, your marketing strategy is still mostly the same today. It's still like meet humans, make friends, and probably referrals. Or is there anything else? Is that the main kind of like bulk of it?
Yes. And I also have a following on Instagram. So I am booked out now until like I'm booked out for months. So I really don't even like to post because I don't want to say no to people. And what this leads me to think about, Paige, is maybe if there's someone in your community that is looking for work and, maybe just starting and would love to come on board my team.
Yeah.
Because I am finding that, and we can talk more about my process and like what I do as a web designer that kind of sets me apart. But I'm looking to hire a team now to really be able to help more people.
Good. Okay, we will connect you with people. I love this. We will do that after. Congratulations on the booking out. That is so exciting. That's like a dream that so many web designers want to achieve. Tell me, like, what do you think went into that specifically? What was your secret sauce for getting booked out months in advance, would you say? Or was it just consistently doing the same thing fantastically you've always been doing?
I think it is how you book out is by doing a good job and referrals for sure. But it's by being a social person. Like I can't even tell you, I'm in a lot of moms groups and I'm taking my daughter to classes, kids classes, and I sit in the classes and all the other moms and, oh, I'm a lawyer, I need a new website. Oh, I'm literally just there.
Yep.
I'm just there and friendly. If you have children, go take them to the playground, start talking to people around you. If you're interested in, maybe you have a niche in cooking, right? Go to, and you want to do chefs' websites, like go to, different, where is a place to meet chef? I mean,
Some like
restaurants.
cooking conference, I guess.
Or a cooking conference, or exactly, like show up where people are and people who are your niche.
Yep. I love that. That's amazing. Okay. Talk to me about, you mentioned baby.
Be friends first. Sorry.
Yep.
Say what you're saying.
Talk to me about baby. You have the most adorable daughter. Walk me through. So you had built the business before you had the baby. Then talk to me about, you had obviously thought about this too, because you were like,
Yeah.
okay, being, out until 1:30 in the morning in my previous job, not going to work so well with the family. So talk to me about like, how did the web design business work or not with like mom life, and kind of, did you do anything to prepare for it? And how did the business end up working with that in
Yes,
the end?
absolutely. So when I got pregnant, I knew that I wanted to take on less clients to begin with because I really wanted to be less stressed throughout my pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And not that what I do is stressful, but I really wanted to focus on exercising, eating well, cooking clean foods, and all the things that I share on my Instagram, which is like non-toxic health and lifestyle swaps.
Mm-hmm.
That is really my passion in addition to my work with helping people. And so what I did was I just, instead of taking on, 4 to 5 clients a month, I would take on 2,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then at month like 4 or 5 of my pregnancy, I would take on 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then towards the end, when I was 8 or 9, I'm like, okay, everybody, like I'm closed. I'm closed for business until, 5 months,
Mm-hmm.
until my daughter was around 5 months, 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the luxury, thank God, of like really setting myself up and giving
Mm-hmm.
myself this runway and this financial freedom
Mm-hmm.
to take a real pause. And something that I say to young women so I mentor a lot of young women, and I say to them who are thinking about, becoming lawyers or doctors or, in these stressful jobs, these career jobs that they may not be able to take that break, right? I'm like, really think to yourself, do you want to have kids? Okay. I say to like my 22-year-old, mentees, do you want to have kids one day? What does it look like for you? Because if you want to take a break and you want to take a pause, it's very hard in a career like being a lawyer. You
Mm-hmm.
get 2 months, maybe
Yep.
3 months.
Mm-hmm.
If you work at Google, maybe 6 months,
Yep.
God, or
Yep.
Facebook. But how many people get that? Not
Mm-hmm.
many.
Mm-hmm.
And it's if you plan to breastfeed, if you plan to do all these things, it's very incredible to
Mm-hmm.
set yourself up in a job now
Yep.
where you can give yourself the pause.
Literally. I've talked to so many friends about this actually. I was talking to a friend. We were talking about like having children, starting a family. And I was talking to a friend about this, and she was like, "Oh, you're in such a good position." She's like, "I literally like, she had her baby, then she quit her job, then she started a business, and like that all happened right one after the other." She's like, "You're in such a beautiful position. Like you built this thing. It's running and functioning." She's like, "You're good." And I was like, okay, good, thanks. And I know that that's absolutely not the case for everyone. And I have so many students who it's like, they do exactly what she did. It's like, have a baby, realize old job doesn't work, start business.
How
And
so
it works too, but like if you do think about it even earlier, it's gonna like
Paige,
really make your life easier.
Paige, I'm in all these moms groups now, and everyone's like, "Oh, I have to go back to work."
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, and I'm like, "Oh, I get to go back to
Yeah.
work."
Yep.
Right? And I'm helping people just as much as the lawyer's helping people.
Yep.
But I'm more, and not to say that some lawyers aren't fulfilled in their job. There are some, but I am so fulfilled. I am helping people. I'm making the money I want to be making. I'm making my own hours. I'm able to take my daughter to class in the morning, come back for a meeting, meet, like I'm doing this with you now. I'm going to meet a friend later, and then going to date night with my husband, and then coming back and helping build a one sheet for a client.
Yeah.
I have this beautiful life now, thanks to you and your courses. So when you're sitting there thinking, oh, hemming and hawing, should I spend the money? You will get back in spades what you spend.
That's so
And
sweet.
joy.
Enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy. One thing we didn't touch on that I'd love to just mention,
Yeah.
which I think helps lead to my success as a web designer and sets me apart,
Yes. Tell me all about it.
is so when someone comes to me and says, "What do you do? How can how can you help me?" They know what I do, but how can you really help me? So I help people with their branding first, right? And we really go through a whole questionnaire, and you have an incredible questionnaire in your course too to help, help people with this. And we go through like their plan, like their 1 year, their 5 year plan, right? And we go through all of these questions to get their target, to how are you hitting your target audience? Like, I speak to, acupuncturists, massage, who do massage, and I'm like, why is massage the first thing on your website? You don't want to be doing massage,
Mm,
right? Like we need to really be clear about who you want to step through your door as a client,
yes.
like all of these things. So I get very clear about that. I get very clear about their style, right? So we set up a Pinterest board, what fonts, what logos, like what are inspiring websites that websites that you like. It doesn't even need to be in your business, but what are websites that you like? What are the colors? All of that. I go through deeply. Like that is really, really how we get so focused. Then I do design the website. And then what I do is I do social strategy for them.
Mhm.
So how do we help you with marketing? What do you enjoy doing? If you don't like Instagram, like Paige, you don't like Instagram,
Yep. Mhm.
right? So what do you enjoy doing? And how can we help you with marketing like that? I feel like a lot of my clients are completely underutilizing Google Business.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
I have an email template that I send to them to send to their clients, their clients about how to get reviews,
Oh, that's good.
especially if they're a service-based business.
Mm.
And they tell me that that helps them tremendously and they don't have to spend a dime,
Mhm.
not a dime.
Mm.
And then what we do is we build on Canva. I will help them build templates if they
Mm.
do decide they want to do social, right? So
Mhm.
we do social media strategy and marketing for social too. So we built a whole. I offer everything. So that's why clients like to go to me because they don't want to spend money on a branding person. They
Yep.
don't want to spend money on a social person. They want someone to teach them how to use. If they don't know anything about Instagram, I teach them how to use Instagram. I
Yep.
teach them how to use Canva. I
Mhm.
teach them how to use Squarespace, and then they are fully in their element to be able to grow their business.
Yep. And that is such a beautiful thing. And I feel like what you've described there is clearly like you're so intentional about, okay, what does my client really need? And how can I help them do that? And it's
Yeah.
clear that it's like, okay, it's actually for you, it's not just the website. It is also the branding, it is also the strategy. It is also, and I think that's really unique actually about what you do, is the whole like, where do you want this business to be in 5 years? And if you don't want to do massage in 5 years, then like maybe we should think about that right now and start like
Yeah.
building this thing with that intention and figuring out what it is that you do want. So I think that's incredible what you're doing.
That I feel like is when someone is looking into different website designers, they
Mhm.
choose me over somebody else because I
Because of
offer the
that.
full suite of packages,
Mhm.
and I have taken digital marketing courses, so I know Google
Yep.
ads and all that stuff. So you can set yourself apart by, educating yourself in you don't need to be an incredible coder. Right.
Yes.
I love Will
Will
Myers
Myers.
has this amazing
Mhm.
like Code Curious membership, and he also offers like plugins,
Mhm.
run out plugins you can buy. Like you take your course, look at what Chrissy Price is doing, look at
Mhm.
what Will Myers is doing, Becca Harpin. She just created this like AI, like Chat GPT AI for code.
Oh, I didn't see
Like
that.
you, you have these incredible people at your fingertips to just
Mhm.
really like within 6 months, you could have a full-fledged business.
Yeah, I love that. Tell me about okay, so as you mentioned, even so previously you were taking like before you started the web designer business, you were taking coding classes and digital marketing classes. And
Yes.
then how much are you so for your small business clients, how much are you doing custom code on their website versus are you using mostly just like the built-in platform or like what does that look like? I know for every designer it's different. What does that look like for your clients mostly?
So I will ask them, in my brand questionnaire, what are websites you like? Are there certain things on websites you want on your website? And if it's something that requires custom code, or, if I dream up something, oh, I think this could look really cool, then I will custom code on their website. But initially, no, I set up the website with my own templates that I've created based on what they need and based on solving their pain points, their clients' pain points. I often find like these forms that people have, like we could get so crystal clear on the form. What are people coming to you for on a form? Let's break it down. Have a drop down so that when you get the inquiry, you know exactly what they're coming to you for. I mean, like
Mhm.
there are so many pain points that people have in their business that I unclunk for
Yes.
them. We unclunk, and
Yep.
then yeah. Okay. Sorry. What was the last part you just said?
I don't even remember what my question was. You took it on a beautiful tangent. I like it, whatever it was.
So yeah, I just think that like we in terms of custom code, like I love custom coding because it makes things it makes things fun and interesting and different than just like it's not just a plain old Squarespace website, but it's not like, if that's what's holding you back, like being able to code from being a web designer, like that's crazy.
Yeah. Good.
There's
Glad
so
you've
much
done
on
it.
there's so much on the internet now. If I want to learn how to like do a small tweak to a header or
Mhm.
whatever, like I can just like put it in, now Becca's like ChatGPT
Yep.
and get the custom code.
Yep. Totally. I really need to go look at that thing she made. I haven't seen that yet. That's really cool.
Yeah, she just came out with
Really
that.
cool.
Very cool.
Okay. Also tell me about, so you've done some interesting things for your clients based off what they need. Before we started recording, you told me about how in like 24 hours you whipped together someone a website. Tell me about like the like odder or more unusual, is odder a word? No, more odd or more unusual client requests that you've had or like things you've done for people.
Yeah, we were just saying I was talking to somebody who was coming out with a book, and they were like literally coming out with this, like, he's an anchor on CNN and he was about to launch a book. And I'm like, I looked and I saw he didn't have a website. And I messaged him and I said, we really should make you a website so that you get SEO when you're on these, you're going to be on all of the networks now talking about your book, and you should have a website where people can come, know where to buy the book, see all the podcasts you've been on, see your, learn a little bit more about you, all of the things that we should put on. He said, you're right. And so within 24 hours, so another thing I do, Paige, which I don't do for everybody, and I really refer out to photographers, but I'm a photographer. So I know
didn't know that.
website, and you say this too, we need beautiful images. So I said, get me a copy of the book. So within 12 hours, I got the copy of the book. I took beautiful photos I live in New York City, on my rooftop. They were so beautiful. I put them on the website. I made him a website so that when he went literally the next day for book launch on TV, he had a website to show.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So
That's so good.
that's what we can do for people,
Yeah. That's awesome.
See, my girlfriend hemming and hawing about starting this company. Where she would she feels like women need more fun. So she started this this community of women, and every month she plans fun events. And she'd been thinking about this for 3 years. And I sat her down and I said, I'm making you a website this weekend, and next week you're gonna launch it and you're gonna start getting signups. And she said, really? And I said, yeah, we're gonna do it. Within a weekend, it was the Super Bowl weekend. I didn't even look up to see what was going on. I told my husband to tell me if there's anything I needed
I
to
don't care.
see. And I built her this website. And she said to me, and the next week, she had 30 people sign up. The next week, 50. Now she's up to 70 members signing up. So we can create magic for people.
I love that. And I feel like you're so passionate too. Like I can tell that you're excited when you get to
I love
force someone into a website and starting their business.
I love, you know what? We're dream makers for people. Like people have these dreams and we bring them to life. Like we execute. So there's a lot of like business strategists out there and like business coaches, and they don't execute. They tell you what you need to do and maybe help you become more profitable in certain ways. But we are business coaches, business strategists, and we execute for people.
It's true. And yeah, I think that's one of the most fun parts of being a designer, actually, is that one, client interaction, and two, like when you have clients who you really enjoy, then it's really fun to get to hang out with them and chat with them. But two, it is, and I think that's the thing which I enjoy the most about business, actually, is the strategy aspect of it and helping other people figure that out too. Like that's what I find the most fun, actually. Took me years to figure that out, but I realized that.
One thing I would suggest too that really we don't talk enough about as website designers is like maybe if you don't, like my mom's a life coach. So I literally have it like in my brain and body and ecosystem. Like that is who I am to my friends and to my clients. So I would suggest maybe taking a life coach course, a business course, not a business course, but a course, because so often you meet people and they need help getting out of their comfort zone. Right? A lot of my clients need help with imposter syndrome and getting out of their comfort zone. So I am a cheerleader for them.
Yep.
And I'm a life coach for them. And I'm a therapist for them. And I have this, I have this in my toolkit to help them. But I would suggest, for some people getting into this, that you have to be that for your clients.
Yeah.
to help to really get them to realize their dreams. Some people are stuck in their rut. We need to crack them open, really see what is their dream so that they're so happy. I get a call from a client, Paige. I got a call from a client saying, Alex, she said, I just bought my dream house. She said, because of you, you helped me make this website. She's a psychologist. You helped me make a website. You helped me with my marketing. I have so many clients. I was able to buy my dream house this week.
That's so fulfilling.
And that's what we do for people. You know, we help them to realize their dreams.
So
not
good.
that we're not surgeons, but
we help with more fun things than like heart attacks. So
I could not be successful at all doing that. But you know what? It's really kind of cool. And I'm sure got messages like this from people like me, like, thank you so much. And, you know, and now the clients whose websites you built, like, it's really incredible.
So gratifying.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Okay. I have a few more before I have to let you go. You mentioned, so coming back to having a daughter, I feel like so many moms have great mom life hacks. Is there anything that you did to like make it possible? So you mentioned you took a few months off on mat leave and then you decided to go back. Tell me about anything that like works well for you or that you would recommend to other moms who want to run the business, have the baby at the same time.
So at the beginning, it's kind of hard in terms of like the nap schedule, especially if you want to be a stay-at-home mom. But as your child gets a little bit older and things get more like clear, like they need a nap between 1 and 2. So you can plan your meetings then. Like, and I like to plan like a lot of night meetings after I put my daughter to bed.
Yeah.
Right? So those are a little bit like mom hacks that like you don't need, you know, and a lot of people are like, oh, only too happy to meet at 9 o'clock after they put their own, you know, their kids to bed. I also, it was very important to me to find childcare that I relied on. And that's also a full-time job. So I definitely suggest to people to start looking into, you know, what their needs are. Like I wanted to find somebody who would be helpful with cooking healthy foods for my baby so I didn't have to give her pouches and things like that. So it's really getting very clear about what kind of childcare you need, and also creating a schedule that works. Like I like to see clients on like Mondays and Tuesdays. You know, I'll set my schedule. So that way the rest of the week I had more time for things that I want to work on and other things, just going to classes with my daughter and things like that. So there's some it's really individualized, but it is so doable to have this career and job as a mom.
Good. So happy to hear that. That's amazing. Okay. And then tell me about, so a lot of people wonder, and you're such a great example of this. They wonder, okay, if I take the course and it's different for every single person, there's no like typical or anything, but talk to me about making back your investment on the course. People always want to know like, what's normal? And I'm like, okay, well, I should ask a few people this question. Can you tell me about like what happened for you in terms of like making back your course investment?
What happened to me? So within 2 months, I made back my course investment. Within 2 months, I got 3 clients and made back my investment. And I'm like, and then, into the, 6 figures now. And I don't even blink at that. It was so worth it. And what I love too, Paige, is that it's not just the courses that you buy into. It's a community. So you have Facebook groups and every month you do calls. And if you ever have a question about anything, if you go back into the Facebook group, I'm sure someone has asked. Right? And everyone's so helpful. And it's a great way to meet people who are also, who are doing similar things that you're doing. And I think that you constantly are updating your courses too. You're buying into something that, and a lot of people don't. Right? A lot of people do not do what Paige does. Like you will, the link will be broken a year later. They don't update, Squarespace updates their stuff. And like, you need to make sure that when you invest in something like this, you're investing with a person who has your back, and Paige has your back.
Thank you. It takes a lot of work, but I do keep those things up to date.
A lot of work, and that's why people don't do it. That's why people are like, I get to my course, I'm never going to update it, and Squarespace is constantly making updates. And it's a real headache for you. But you care so deeply about your client, about all of the people who take your courses, that you're like, I'm going to update it for them and do Facebook groups. I mean, like, you're so in your business, and it shows. Like, that's why. How many people have taken your courses?
Thousands. 7,000 plus
right?
now, yeah.
Right? And you have an incredible reputation for a reason.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Okay, and then the last one, which I feel like you've already kind of talked to this, but I'll give you like just a moment because also I feel like you're my best cheerleader. If someone is on the fence about taking one of the courses, what would you say? What would your advice be to them?
I would say don't think twice, because if you are really considering being a web designer, it's an absolute no-brainer. And even if you're not considering being a web designer, there's so much value to taking Paige's courses just in life, right? So say I didn't end up becoming a web designer, but I ended up helping my husband build this big business, right? I used a lot of what I learned in your courses to help him with his growth of his business. So any business you are in, you will learn things, strategies for, it's endless, Paige, what you talk about. Have, Canva, like Canva hacks, something. You talk about some Canva hacks that I use, not just in my web design business, but, in life. So, and it just, I believe that even if you're not a web designer and really don't intend to be, you can learn so much just from your business courses and your Square Secrets course.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex. Incredible. Wasn't that inspiring? Hearing real success stories like this reminds us that building the business of your dreams is absolutely possible, and it starts with finding the right clients. Now, the best client finding method isn't about chasing the latest trend or jumping on every shiny object. It's about truly discovering a client finding strategy that feels natural, works for you, and helps you connect with the clients that you actually want to work with. So, if you want to figure this out for yourself, you can take my quiz, Which Client Finding Method Matches Your Personality Type? And in it, you will uncover the perfect way to land your dream clients without the overwhelm or the endless trial and error. So click the link below or head to paigebrunton.com/quiz to take the quiz. And then you can start building your web designer dream business today. I can't wait to hear which marketing strategy result that you got.